There are endless lists to be made on the most successful teams, leagues, box-to-box midfielders, or even players who tuck in their long sleeve shirts. But what about colors? Such a momentous endeavor could only be done by an illustrious channel as the one that I am running. In reality, it can only be done by someone who has too much time on their hands and likes to ask stupid questions. Before we begin, we need to set up some ground rules and a safe word, which will be Benedict. How do we quantify success? We can take into account periods of domestic and continental dominance, surprising results, and giant killings, but if we were to do that, we could very well be here until Manchester City get relegated, bought by KSI and Logan Paul, and dissolved. So, we'll keep this simple. Stupidly simple. I'm talking 15-year-olds on TikTok arguing about Messi and Ronaldo's trophies simple, people piling every pre-2010 Premier League player together as Barclays men simple, or FIFA choosing host countries based on their human rights record simple. As all of you are smart and beautiful, you can probably tell that trophies will be the measure used to rank these colors. So let's get the first rules down. Trophies will be used to gain points in my Football Color Championship League table and will be worth as follows. Domestic cups are worth 1 point, domestic leagues are worth 2 points, and continental cups are worth 3. But what teams and what leagues should we consider for the domestic records? Going down all the way through the coefficients to the Maltese Premier League seems rather pedantic. I mean, big props to Slima Wanderers, Floriana and Valletta for their more than 20 league titles, but their success will be overlooked in our video. Therefore, I will take a look at the 7 best European leagues, the 4 best Latin American leagues, the best 3 African leagues, and the best 2 Asian leagues alongside all the continental cups from around the world. How are these leagues considered the best? Continental trophies, easy. But what about the US, Canada and Australia, I hear you say? Well, if they really wanted to be included, they would call football football and finally get serious with the most popular sport in the world. Anyway, they're probably too busy giving themselves concussions, fighting with hockey sticks and being upside down to notice. The third issue I could find is clubs who couldn't decide on a color, so they had to have 2 like the greedy bastards they are. Basically, the biggest 3 clubs in Italy. Since apparently humans need to be classist even when it comes to colors, and black and white are technically non-colors, the color will be considered in those cases. And if you've been stuffing your face and weren't listening closely, what I've said is that Inter, for example, will be considered as a blue team. If clubs have 2 colors combined, I will flip a coin or close my eyes and go eeny meeny miny mo or something. On second thought, they count for both color teams. So for example, Barcelona's points will go both to the red and the blue teams. Since I see no other issues with my dastardly plan, we can begin this. We start in Europe, where all the nice things were invented.
Today's subject is slavery.
And we have to begin with the Premier League, or else all the Prem supremacists will click off the video. Right away, the color red shoots off into the lead as Manchester United, Liverpool and Arsenal have a combined total of 52 Premier League and Football League First Division titles, giving them 104 points. Add to those another 53 League and FA Cups, and the Reds of England are so far ahead nothing can catch them. To the 157 points amassed so far, we can add 33 more courtesy of clubs like Sunderland, Nottingham Forest and lesser known ones like Swindon Town, who won the 1969 League Cup, a very fitting year to prove that size doesn't matter. And yes, I won't be counting the Community Shield since it's technically a charity game, and as much as I love wasting my time, I still have some shreds of dignity left. You know what else I won't be counting? All of the clubs that won the FA Cup in the earliest days of English football. Because what is that kit, Old Etonians? Have you come dressed to the FA Cup as a polo harlequin? Anyway, the Reds now sit comfortably on 191 points, and not even Everton's glory days or Chelsea and Manchester City's oil and gas money can come close to them. 123 points is all they could amass, with the 3 previously mentioned clubs doing most work. However, the sheer amount of blue clubs in England meant that some ground was made up as clubs like Portsmouth, Huddersfield Town and of course Leicester contributed their fair share of titles. Christ, they even enlisted the Welsh for help, with Cardiff's 1927 FA Cup win. But the Reds were just too strong. In third, white and black, yes, I have grouped the discriminated non-colors together because Ezio has taught me that everything is permitted, aided by the likes of Spurs, Newcastle and Leeds, and to a lesser extent Preston North End, Notts County or Swansea, amass 55 points. Right below them, on 34 points, we find Claret, aided massively by Aston Villa's monster 7 league titles and 7 FA Cups. I am fully aware that Claret is technically a shade of red, but I don't think Villa, West Ham or Burnley supporters would be too happy if they were called Reds. The minnows in this league are orange and yellow. Orange FC are on 15 points, with Wolves providing most of them, and Norwich's 2 League Cups provide a solitary 2 points amassed by Yellow FC. We'll do the Continental trophies at the end, since I need to give you all a reason to watch, boosting my view time so this video reaches more and more people. After all, the man in the book told me that I have to waste as many people's time as possible. We now move on to
a continent called Europe. And in Europe, they found a country called Germany. And in Germany, they found something called
the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal. Nice, clear, simple, concise and easy, just like Germans like it, not to mention fuel efficient. Okay, they did have the short-lived DFB Liga Pokal, but that was just a phase. It only lasted 10 years and was technically a pre-season competition. As you'd expect, Bayern completely annihilates the competition, bringing Red FC to an immense amount of points, namely 88. Other sides like the former most successful German team Nuremberg, Fortuna Düsseldorf, Kaiserslautern and even Minnows Kickers Offenbach, who now play in the 4th tier but won the 1970 DFB Pokal, round off Red FC's total to 142 points. As expected, Blue FC are second with 53 points, most of them brought in by Schalke and Hamburg, with clubs like Karlsruhe or 1860 Munich aiding their efforts. The black and white team are in third on 39 points, most of them brought in by Borussia Mönchengladbach's glory days in the 70s, as well as teams like VfB Stuttgart and Köln. Despite Borussia Dortmund currently being the second best team in the country with 8 titles and 5 cups, Yellow FC are second to last on 31 points, followed by Green FC on 24, mostly comprised of Werder Bremen and Greuther Fürth's title. I say mostly because during the 1930s and 40s, something very strange happened in Germany. Using the power of friendship, they did a special jutsu through which they annexed Austria. Did I say friendship? Sorry, I meant blaming a disenfranchised and marginalized group for every perceived trouble of the so-called pure majority. This meant that Rapid Vienna from the Green team were crowned 1941 German champions, with First Vienna from the Yellow team winning the DFB Pokal 2 years later. Since I somehow ended up mentioning Adolf the Hokage on a video about football and colors, we can move on to the country of his BFF, Italy. Now, I'm not going to lie, Italy was a pain to tally up, as both Genoa and Bologna played both sides having blue and red on their shirts, as well as Roma being the red and yellows and Hellas Verona being the blue and yellows. For the first time, Blue FC takes the lead with 118 points, whilst the lion's share of those came courtesy of Inter. Genoa and Bologna's blue, as well as Napoli and Lazio's titles, aided them massively. Since the points of the 2 blue and red sides counted for Red FC's points as well, you'd expect them to be second. But Milan's relative inefficiency in the Coppa Italia with just 5 titles proved the difference maker, and not even Roma's impressive 9 domestic cups could aid them. They sit third on 97 points. Sandwiched between them is White and Black FC on 107. Most of their points come from the 36 titles and 15 Coppa Italias of the least investigated club on earth, but Pro Vercelli's 7 league titles from the 1910s aided them as well. The Grande Torino era of the 1940s aided Brown FC to a 4th place, followed by Yellow FC. In last place, we find a new color once again, Fiorentina's purple, a very underrated and pretty club color in my opinion, but they could amass just 10 points. We stay in the Mediterranean for our next country, Spain, where the non-colors are sure to make a comeback. Or are they? Real Madrid's 36 titles are 9 more than Barcelona's, but the Catalans have 11 more Copa del Reys. Or is it Copas del Rey? I don't know. The real kicker in this equation is the whopping 24 Rey del Copas won by Athletic Bilbao, aka the last club on earth who remains true to its values. Valencia, Sevilla and Real Zaragoza throw in their titles alongside giants Real Madrid, as do Real Union. The little-known Basque club, currently owned by Unai Emery, won 3 Copa del Rey titles during their heyday, bringing the total of the white/black team to a nice even 120 points. As impressive as that might seem, Red FC has a couple of aces up their sleeve, namely the fact that alongside all of Barcelona's trophies, they can also count on the 2 Athletics, namely the one in Bilbao and the one in Madrid, and Red FC takes it again with 159 points. In third, Blue FC manages to amass a pretty respectable 100 points, courtesy of Barcelona once again, as well as clubs like Real Sociedad Espanyol or Super Depor. Last but not least, we find the 5 points belonging to the green team, as Real Betis have won 3 cups and 1 league title. The last of the top 5 leagues is France, even though some might debate that, home to much ridicule from other footballing nations. The so-called Farmers League, however, brings up a surprising development, namely the amount of clubs that have won the league title. The term Farmers League, coined by Jacob Farmers League, a 15-year-old from Leeds, with way too much unsupervised time on the internet, refers to a league that is completely dominated by one or two sides, leaving the rest of the clubs to be farmers' teams with no chance of winning anything. Think the Bulgarian League, or almost any Eastern European league for that matter, where 2 or 3 capital clubs have usually won more than half of the league titles ever played for. Therefore, if you take Jacob's definition, apply it to the top 5 leagues, and use the forbidden and ancient secret technique of Code Erat Demonstrandum, you will find that Spain are the actual farmers, with only 9 clubs that have ever won the league, compared to the staggering 28 that have won the French league. Alongside the winners of the Coupe de France, which are almost as many, the table is pretty close and very colorful. Despite arch rivals Lyon and Marseille both playing in white, their team sits only in third with 57 points, behind blue on 107 and red on 82, which benefit from the sheer amount of clubs that have won titles. Green and yellow are almost tied on 39 and 34 points, courtesy of strong showings by Saint-Étienne and Nantes. 2 more colors feature here, namely orange, who benefit from Montpellier's titles and the solitary Coupe de France win of Lorient, and purple, who amasses just 1 point as Toulouse have won the 2023 Coupe de France. The last 2 leagues from Europe who were covered are the Dutch and the Portuguese leagues. The Dutch have even more teams that have won the league title than the French, but mercifully Portugal is dominated by the big 3, so not much counting will be involved there. We start in the Netherlands, where there really is absolutely no contest. Ajax, PSV and Feyenoord all feature red, and their combined league and cup wins already put Red FC on 199 points. We can then add all of the titles won by teams like AZ, Twente, Utrecht or Sparta Rotterdam, and Red FC's already impressive tally balloons up to 250 points. You might expect blue or white to follow in second place, but no, the Dutch had to be interesting. Yellow FC takes second spot on 42 points, mostly due to HVV Den Haag's 10 league titles won prior to World War I, as well as ADO Den Haag and NAC Breda's successes. Blue FC is not even in the top 3 here, finishing behind white and black and ahead of green in last place. So the Dutch don't like the color blue then, it seems. Then why the hell would they put it on their flag? And finally, mercifully, we get Portugal. Apart from the big 3 or O Tres Grandes, only 2 other clubs have won the league title and 10 others have won the cup. Benfica's success in the league and the cup means that Red FC takes the win in Portugal as well, followed by Blue FC and then Green FC. Pooling together the resources of smaller clubs like Boa Vista or Vitória de Guimarães, Black and White FC manages to scrape together a measly 10 points, ahead of Yellow FC on 1 point, courtesy of Beira-Mar's 1999 Taça de Portugal triumph. Before we can hop on a boat and sail to America like my boy Chrissy Columbus, we need to tally up the points from the continental trophies of Europe, starting with the Champions League, or as Endrick knows it, the European Cup. Real Madrid gives their side an early lead, but then a red tide akin to the one seen in 1920s Russia sweeps over the table, placing Red FC once again in the lead courtesy of clubs like Milan, Liverpool, Bayern, Nottingham Forest or Red Star Belgrade. The non-colors managed to cling on to third ahead of Blue FC despite them benefiting from Barcelona, Inter, Porto or Steaua wins. Tied in last place we find Yellow, Green and Claret. The situation is much the same in the Europa League or the UEFA Cup for Endrick, where Sevilla's white takes an early lead only to be overtaken by the red of Liverpool, Atletico, Feyenoord or Frankfurt. Blue manages to steal second spot with the help of Inter, Göteborg, Porto and Chelsea, despite white and black being aided by the likes of Juve, Gladbach, Real and Parma. Orange makes a dastardly entry with Galata's 2000 win against Arsenal and Shakhtar's 2009 triumph, and Purple FC also grabs 3 points because Anderlecht upheld Benfica's European Cup final curse in 1983. Before the Endrick jokes get old, we quickly move on to probably his favorite European competition, the Cup Winners' Cup. I am planning a video on it in the near future just because it screams vintage and weird. The Spanish are here again, as Barcelona's 4 wins are the absolute record in the competition. Despite Real Madrid never winning this European competition, the black and white team is still very well represented by the likes of Dynamo Kiev, Parma, Spurs or Magdeburg, but it's still only good enough for third, or actually second, as red and blue are tied on 57 points. For every Milan, there's a Chelsea, for every Slovan Bratislava or Manchester City, there's a Dinamo Tbilisi or an Aberdeen. In the relegation zone, Purple picks up 9 more points courtesy of Anderlecht and Fiorentina's wins, and Sporting, Werder Bremen, Mechelen and West Ham give green, yellow and claret some points. And now for the easy part, the Conference League. Just 3 winners so far, which means Roma gives red and yellow 3 points each, and West Ham and Olympiacos do the same for claret and red. If you've been following closely and not been playing Gardenscapes on your phone, you will know that Red FC leads with 249 points, followed by blue on 165 and white on 150. Purple and yellow are the best of the losers with 12 points each. And now finally onto the rest of the world, starting with neither South nor North America, but Latin America. The land of cowboys and steaks is up first, and I do mean Argentina by that, not that weird place where politicians act like clowns only for their decisions to impact the rest of the world as well. Leading the all-time charts with 38 league titles we have River Plate, whose red stripe is too small in my opinion, so the white team will get their points from this one. Their fierce rivals Boca are in second place with 3 titles less. It seems that River's 2011 relegation, which Boca fans love to bring up, hasn't hurt them in the all-time standings. Still, it isn't enough for the white team, as blue and red slip ahead of them with the aid of the aforementioned Boca, as well as clubs like Racing Club de Avellaneda, San Lorenzo, Independiente or Estudiantes. Yellow has a strong showing in third, amassing 86 points, thanks to Boca again, as well as Rosario Central and Belgrano. As for the cups, this is where it gets a bit tricky, as Argentina has had no less than 20 cup competitions throughout its history. As many of them have at some point served as the official Argentinian cup, it is only fair that I count them all. Lucky me. Blue skips further ahead after the cup competitions have been tallied up on a whopping 206 points, and red somehow manages to slip behind white, with yellow managing to gather up 112 points, good enough for fourth. As green, represented by Banfield and Nueva Chicago, and brown, represented by Belgrano, are the last colors on the list. Before we move on to the other pioneers of South American football, can we just stop and appreciate what a brilliant name Nueva Chicago is? Okay? All done appreciating? Good. On to Homer Simpson's favorite country, Uruguay, where a massive surprise awaits us. The first 2 teams are white on 112 points and yellow on 106. Peñarol from Yellow FC might have won more titles than Nacional, but White FC can also call upon Danubio and Montevideo Wanderers. Red FC manages to scrape the third place on just 14 points, as Blue slumps to second to last on 4. In third, we find Purple FC on 10 points, courtesy of Defensor Sporting, who are the only team to have ever won the Copa Uruguay. Yes, you heard correctly, as one of the most famous footballing countries in the world created its own cup competition just 3 years ago. The last South American country we need to visit is of course Brazil. Now, just because their football league is completely insane doesn't mean we need to stoop to such levels of the Lulu and count every single state champion. So just the overall Brazilian champions as well as the Copa do Brasil winners will be considered. Just like in Uruguay, Brazilians seem to love their non-colors, as the black and white team takes the win once again through teams like Santos, Corinthians, Sao Paulo or Vasco da Gama. Red goes ahead of green by just 1 point, proving that the all-time record champions Palmeiras will need to convince some other teams to change their colors, and blue comes in dead last. To finish up our South American adventure, we need to take a look at the continental competitions. In the Copa Libertadores, Independiente's record 7 titles quickly brought them to first place, before Yellow, aided by Boca's 6 trophies and Peñarol's 7 wins, stole the lead. Ultimately, it was the white and black team that wins, aided by the Brazilian sides, as well as the ones outside the top countries like Olimpia from Paraguay, Colo-Colo from Chile, Colombia's Once Caldas, and Ecuador's Liga de Quito. Yellow FC manages to slip into fourth as blue overtakes them and green finishes in last place. In the Copa Sudamericana, however, the age-old enemies red and blue are at it again, with blue taking the crown. The deciding factor in the win is Pachuca's 2006 title. Why is this worth mentioning? Well, because they are Mexican, competing in that edition on an invitational basis. If we add up all the points, and by we I mean myself because I'm doing all the work here, we find that the South Americans decided to be interesting and reject the European red-blue duopoly in favor of black and white, which amasses a whopping 428 points. Blue and red scored 296 and 281 respectively, and green and yellow receive a big boost with 185 and 156 points. Purple on 10 and brown on 7 are also present, just to keep things from getting monotone. And look at that, I got a color joke in there as well. And since you're all barreling over from this brilliant quip, you haven't even noticed that we have landed in Mexico, the final Latin American country on our list. Luckily, I have found a handy all-time list of the champions, so I don't have to mess around with all that Apertura and Clausura crap. In the league, it was looking so promising for Yellow FC, as all-time record winners Club America put them in the lead alongside Tigres, but red and blue have overtaken them courtesy of clubs like Guadalajara or Cruz Azul. Green also has a strong showing, mainly due to Santos Laguna and León, overtaking white and black in last place. After all the cup wins are considered, the rankings stayed the same except for the white and black team overtaking Green FC. With that short stop out of the way, all we have left to do is take a look at the CONCACAF Champions League. See, Americans, you get featured after all. Except not so much, since even Costa Rica has more titles than you. So put down those team gulps and go practice some passing or dribbling or something, whilst I do some maths. The undisputed kings of the CONCACAF Champions Cup are the Mexican teams, occupying the top 4 spots in the all-time winners list. Club America of the yellow team might be the all-time winners, but the next 3, Cruz Azul, Pachuca and Monterrey, all play in blue. With those wins, blue takes the lead with a very nice 69 points, followed by white, red and yellow. Green and orange are sadly last, and overall, North America is tied between red and blue, much to the enjoyment of the Pledge of Allegiance aficionados. Yellow has a strong showing in third, followed by black and white, green and orange. That pretty much wraps up the Americas, and as we head over to Africa, I'm very pleased with myself for not mentioning narcotics on this previous section. Right, on to Africa, which is not only a song but a whole continent, with people, and animals, and stuff. Out of this frankly underrated continent, the first country we'll be looking at is Egypt. You know, the one with all the pyramids that idiots claim were built by aliens. And even before we begin, it looks like a complete Red FC victory, as Al Ahly have won 44 titles since the Egyptian league first took off 75 years ago. That is a title every 1.7 years, and just for reference, Bayern, who are considered the most dominant team ever, can only manage a title every 1.9 years. Al Ahly are Bayern on steroids. The maths just can't be debated. This one was for all of you maths debaters out there. Their bitter rivals Zamalek have 30 less titles, but do score somewhat better in terms of cups, where they close the gap to Al Ahly with 28 Egyptian cups to 39. A monster performance by Red FC puts them in first place on 133 points, more than double that of second place White and Black. Blue, yellow and green round off the Egyptian clubs as we move on to the revelation of the 2022 World Cup, Morocco. Red FC has another dominant team ready here as well, namely Wydad AC from Casablanca, who have bogarted 22 titles from their opposition. Hometown rivals Raja Casablanca, representing the green team, are on 13 titles, same as AS FAR, whose points will go both to the red and the green team due to their kits. Incidentally, AS FAR are also the club that has won the most Moroccan thrown cups, with Wydad and Raja tied for second place. Red and green seem to be the preferred colors of the other teams that have lifted silverware in Morocco as well. Red takes the win again, 20 points ahead of green, with yellow and blue following them. Orange also makes an appearance courtesy of RS Berkane, and white scores a solitary point through Tihad AS's cup win. Our final country, Tunisia, home in ancient times to some dude who was a cannibal and walked his elephants across some mountains to the pubic wars, decided to keep it interesting. They once again have a thoroughly dominant team who plays in red, Espérance de Tunis, but their kits also feature yellow. The second and third best teams, Club Africain and Étoile du Sahel, however, play in red, making this once again a foregone conclusion. Jimothy, if you've fallen asleep, I'll just wake you up when Red FC don't win. In second place, Yellow takes its highest finish yet, ahead of White, Green and Blue FC, who are used to the heights of first and second. They scored just one measly point through Club Olympique de Transport's 1988 Cup win. Sadly, a lot of former champions, including 9 times winner Racing Club de Tunis and 4-time winners Italia de Tunis, alongside many others, are defunct, and I couldn't find reliable information on their kits. So if any Tunisian football gurus are watching this, maybe you can illuminate us in the comments. Before we can travel to Asia, the not so small matter of the 2 continental African Cups needs to be resolved, starting with the CAF Champions League, where Al Ahly once again reigned supreme with 12 titles, followed by another Egyptian team, Zamalek, on 5, tied with DR Congo's TP Mazembe, who play in black and white. The black and white team nearly made up all the ground Red FC gained, but Esperance de Tunis, Wydad, Canon Yaoundé from Cameroon and Ghana's Asante Kotoko help out the red team. Yellow and green are also well represented through Raja, JS Kabylie from Algeria and Hafia FC from Guinea. One of the most unique teams I have ever encountered are Hearts of Oak from Ghana. Nicknamed Phobia, they play in a red, blue and yellow kit, ticking off the trifecta of interesting name, kit and nickname. Speaking of blue, they are dead last once again with only one club, Enyimba of Nigeria, playing in a full blue kit. In the CAF Confederations Cup, the black and white kits of CS Sfaxien reign supreme with 3 titles, and orange makes another appearance through RS Berkane. Overall, it seems that African teams love red, with green, white and yellow almost tied behind it. As for blue, only the eclectic orange saves it from finishing last. And finally, we have reached Asia. Like a bunch of weeaboos, we head straight to Japan to find some kawaii teams that have won the league title. Sanfrecce Hiroshima and Kashima Antlers are the top 2 teams in the land of the rising sun, playing in purple and red respectively. Right behind them, with 1 title less, are Yokohama F Marinos playing in blue and Tokyo Verdy from the green team, meaning everything is still very well balanced. Urawa Red Diamonds then comes up, and you can probably guess to which team their points will go, before Cerezo Osaka throw in a real curveball for us as they play in pink, proving that you can be eclectic and successful. If we take the Emperor's Cup into consideration as well, just a modern professional part, as I'm not about to go through decades of university team winners, Blue takes the lead by just 3 points, washing away their previous shame from their African standings. Red, green, purple, pink, yellow, white and orange follow in that order, proving how multicolored Japanese football is. Non-dictatorial Korea is next, the one with all the boy bands who make men everywhere feel insecure. Where Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors from the green team are the all-time record winners, with Seongnam, who play in a very classy black kit, following them in second. Red is once again ever present and manages to clinch first place just through sheer numbers, through teams like Seoul FC, Busan and Pohang Steelers, with green, blue, white and black and yellow following them. In this case, the black and white team was also helped by a solitary K-League win that happened in 1983 in the first ever edition. The team that won it was Hallelujah FC. No, seriously. Korea's first ever professional football team, who was founded by the Korean FA's president and employed Christian footballers and coaches. They promptly won their first ever league title, went amateur to concentrate on missionary work, and dissolved in 1998. Incidentally, Seongnam FC are another religious team, founded by Messiah Claimant and leader of the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity, Sun Myung Moon, but they have gone secular since then. Right before I stop wasting your time and show the final results, the Asian Confederation's continental trophies need to be looked at, and boy do they like their continental cups. Just like in Europe, we have 3 competitions: the AFC Champions League Elite, the AFC Champions League 2, and the AFC Challenge League. I don't need to tell you the order of their prestige, since you're all smart and handsome. We also have a defunct Asian Cup Winners' Cup, which ran from 1990 to 2002. The location of all the winners proves very interesting throughout the Asian continental pyramid, as at the elite level, Japanese, Korean and Saudi teams reign supreme. In the Champions League 2, Kuwait, Iraq and Jordan are the top nations, and in the Challenge League, the most winners have come from Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan and Turkmenistan. It might be sad that I find such things interesting, but oh well. In the Champions League Elite, Al Hilal of Blue FC are record 4-time winners, but Red FC negates their early lead through the next best 2 teams, Pohang Steelers and Urawa Red Diamonds, each on 3 wins. Blue responds with Iran's Esteghlal and Suwon Samsung Blue Wings, as Red calls in the help of Guangzhou FC and the very funnily named Thai Farmers Bank FC. Clubs like Al Ain, PAS Tehran FC and Al Ittihad throw some purple, green and yellow into the mix, but for the most part, red and blue trade blows throughout the winners' league table. In Asia's second best competition, Kuwait SC and Iraq's Al Quwa Al Jawiya, sorry for the pronunciation, give white and blue a head start, as apart from Central Coast Mariners, the AFC Champions League 2 has been exclusively won by teams from Muslim countries. In the Challenge League, Rigar Tadaz of Tajikistan playing in white and FC Dordoy Bishkek from Kyrgyzstan playing in yellow are the top 2 teams, as red and blue reign supreme everywhere else. Overall, red triumphs in Asia as well, making it 4 out of 5 on the overall table. To be honest, I did not expect anything else, but what I didn't expect was just how long this video took to write up. So if you are impressed by my commitment to waste mine and everyone else's time, leave a like and a comment and check out my channel, where humorous videos about nicknames blend seamlessly with historical documentaries and videos about wannabe dictators using football as a political tool. Therefore, the final league reads as such. Red wins without a shred or a shadow of a doubt on 2,392 points. Blue makes second on 1,388, just ahead of white/black on 1,309. Green on 615 and yellow on 508 provide the best of the rest, whilst purple, claret, orange, brown and pink are relegation fodder. I hope you liked this around the world journey, and if any one of you wants to factor in national teams, you are more than welcome to do so, although I think that 5 points for World Cups and 4 for continental trophies should be awarded. So if you want to do that, feel free to do so. Before I leave, if anyone mentions Oceania in the comments, I will lock you in a room with the 100 low IQ Messi and Ronaldo fans for a month. Okay, see you next time. Goodbye.